When I was 12 years old, my parents isolated my family from everyone in the outside world and we hid out in a house in a perfectly normal neighborhood for years. This is part 3 of that story. In my last video, I mentioned that kids 9, 10, and 11 were secret surrogate kids, so here's how that happened. In 2015, when the twins were born, kids 9 and 10, my family had already deemed everyone in our neighborhood and the town we lived in a threat. Extended family was either already cut off or kept at a major distance despite how close they lived. My parents were determined that nobody find out about these extra kids for who knows what reason. So they would drive 2 hours to a town in the opposite direction of where my family, extended family lived, and go to the surrogacy appointments there. That's where they were born, and they did not tell grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody when the twins were born. The only reason my grandparents and subsequently everyone else found out about the twins was months after they were born, when they were pushing on my parents to allow them to come over for the holidays at some point, and they said no, 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 no over and over again, and finally said, well, we just had 2 babies. It came as a complete shock to everyone that they had these months-old babies that nobody knew about. So the secret about the twins came out with extended family that we didn't really talk to anyway, but my parents were determined that the neighbors never see them. And my dad ran a pizza franchise in town, and some of the younger kids were allowed to go with him sometimes to do whatever there, and the twins were, even as they got a little bit older, never allowed to do that because they were the secret kids. Then in 2018, when the youngest was born, number 11, my mom's dad did their taxes for them, and they had talked about finding someone else to do their taxes so that they could claim him as a dependent, but family wouldn't find out. They were extra careful to make sure nobody would ever see that there was a baby carrier in their 15-passenger van. And the only people that knew that we had this baby in the house for months were 2 hours away at the surrogacy clinic and the lady who carried him. So that all changed when my aunt, who my mom was still kind of talking to, started to get really concerned about some of the things my mom was saying and called a welfare check. And for years, people had made CPS calls, and we had no idea because no one ever came and checked. But the welfare check, they sent officers to our door. I was 18 years old. We had a 2 or 3 month old baby in the house that nobody knew about, and they came to the door, and I could tell that in a whole other separate story. My aunt requesting the body cam footage after the fact is how they found out that there was a baby there, and they started talking about it, and they asked my mom's dad, like, whose baby is this? My parents tried to claim that they were babysitting the neighbor's kid and defended that with their lives, that that was not their baby, it was the neighbor's baby. And nobody was buying it because everybody knew at that point there was absolutely no way we would even talk to the neighbors, much less have their baby in our house. And they eventually caved and told them about it. And to this day, the neighbors know there are younger children in there and that they kept having kids, but they don't know how many kids there are. One set of my grandparents met the twins one time when they were little, and since then, nobody has ever seen these younger 3.